it can be all done online, all the way to e-delivery, e-signature e-delivery, except for the e-delivery and some of that stuff. In New York, there's a few stipulations there that Peter and his team know very well. So if it's a New York type case, they will certainly help you through that process. So with the e-application process, whether it's a full app or whether it's an accelerated underwriting type program, for principal, most of it is done off of iPipeline. So Peter and his team handle these processes all the time. One of the big things that came up with the e-app, I think, and most carriers have it now, but being able to do the Part B online, that's always the question that we always get. Well, if we do the Parts A and C of the application, what do we do with the Part B? So Principal for years had a tele app where you could call into Principal employees. They would take all the Part B information, match it up with Parts A and C of the application, and we would get an offer from there. Now that would take, say, probably 7 to 8, even 10 days before the client could schedule a call or get on a call. If you're lucky and they called in directly, they could certainly get it. But now the Part B online is a great resource for you as an advisor and for Peter and his team as a GA, because the client can do it while they're sitting down watching TV at the end of the day. And what we've seen is the turnarounds for using the online piece, especially the Part B piece, is that's been about 2 days. So people will sit down when they get that link. Typically, everybody will sit down and pick up their laptop or sit down at their computer at the end of the day to wind down doing whatever they do. So they will certainly pick that up and answer the questions for the Part B online relatively quickly. If they're relatively healthy people, I mean, they're done in 15 minutes. It's not overly taxing for them to do that. So, that's been a real positive with the e-capabilities, is be able to get that done. And then with the accelerated underwriting on top of that, it becomes even a more smooth process for the client, because everything can be done online. Overall, I think what you're seeing is the ability to really smooth out, as I talked about earlier, the transition of the processing of business for clients. That has been the biggest thing. The APSs, with some of the things that are out there. So going to our accelerated underwriting, we had some guidelines there, like I said, $1 million and over. But with the temporary guidelines that are out there right now, because of COVID and the like, there's some ways for us to kind of go online and be able to get some medical records, or maybe able to get labs that have been done within the first or last 2 years, I should say. So in certain situations listed here, ages 18 to 40 for face amounts up to 2.5 million or less, we can use a company called Human API. Many carriers use Human API. We were looking at Human API, and I'll explain that in a second, and a few other types of companies like them for the last 2 years, pretty much. So coming into this, we had actually chosen Human API to be able to access records, and then COVID hit, and so like many carriers, we're forced to jump right into our pilot programs and make them real. What Human API does is it allows the carriers to be able to go out to a doctor's portal. So if you at your doctor's office has a portal where you have your records from that office, through very secure systems, you allow Human API to sign into your account to grab your records. And if you've had recent labs, to be able to grab those labs, so that you don't have to have, or your client doesn't have to have a paramed come out and take all the, the height, weight, and blood and all that kind of stuff that goes along with the life insurance policy. We're able to grab those documents from Human API, who sends them over to us. Now, there's a few other carriers that are out there. I'm sure Peter will talk about what he uses. I don't know if they use Human API or not. And the same with Banner. But it is something that's become more and more prevalent in the market because of the COVID. And a lot of people just don't want people coming to their house and taking blood and all that kind. So certainly a big transition from how business is being done over the last 18 months. And obviously more recently, the last 8 months with COVID. has really made the process easier. So the capabilities are, I think overall, you're going to start seeing more and more of it. Right now, even with our term policies, it has to be done online for $1 million or under. That's just making it more cost effective. When you look at term pricing is a race to zero. I don't know how much cheaper term can get. If you're a healthy super preferred person, it's amazing how cheap you can get term insurance. Well, where's that cost coming from? How can we keep lowering those prices? And one of the ways is how do we make the process more efficient and more smooth to get to the ultimate end of getting that client a policy. So, Peter, is there anything else that would to touch on that? Or I know
No, I think, Pat, in terms of generally what you've covered is great. That's exactly what we needed. I think everyone has realized that the COVID environment, the pandemic, has forced carriers to accelerate what they're doing. So I think that's fantastic. And I'm going to hand over now to Pete Sorelli, and then we'll open right at the very end after Jim, and I see Mary Beth as well. As soon as banners present, we'll open to some questions as Brendan wraps up for us. So Pete Sorelli, I'm going to share your slides for you. And I'm going to allow you to just tell me where to move as needed.
Just go to slide 2, and then I'll let you know to go to slide 3. Pretty simple. Anyways, okay. Well, thank you everybody. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Once again, my name is Peter Sorelli, RVP here in New England for Prudential on the independent side of the house. I grew up Plymouth, Mass. Went to Seton Hall University. Lived in Boston for a while, and I'm now in Simsbury, Connecticut, with my wife Bridget and our 4 children. Obviously a Boston sports fan. Sophia noticed the Brady jersey hanging over my shoulder. It's autographed by the entire team in the last Super Bowl. Sadly enough, Mookie Betts won a World Series for the Dodgers last night. But anyways, with that being said, COVID has created a great opportunity here in 2020 to buy life insurance. So I'm hoping, between all 3 of these presentations, you'll be able to take something out of it and create some more sales. I'm going to cover 3 things. What has changed? What are our capabilities at Prudential? And number 3, what are some of the client opportunities? So number 1, what has changed? Obviously, the way we live, the way we do business has changed drastically over the last 7 or 8 months. And because of that, along kind of Pat's comments and Peter's comments, carriers have had to change the way we do business on a traditional, which is great for everybody all around. Now, similar to principals, Prudential has a program called Proof Fast Track. It had been available for a while. We just hadn't had a lot of traction yet, but we have had quite a bit of adoption here over the last 6 months. Now, Proof Fast Track was available up to $1 million and up to age 60. But during the pandemic, we went to our reinsurers, and they actually were able to increase that face amount from $1 million to $3 million that you could actually get through accelerated underwriting process. Now, what I mean by accelerated underwriting process is, no blood, no urine. That's one of the biggest things that people don't enjoy about buying life insurance. I bought life insurance about a year ago, and being able to buy it without having somebody come to your house, especially in this day and age, where obviously, depending on where you live, the pandemic is either raging or subsiding or on the uptick. But certainly that's an argument or a challenge by a consumer on maybe why they don't want to buy life insurance. We've also moved to electronic APSs as well. We're currently using a human API, similar to what Pat said. Send a link to the client. They sign into their doctor's portal. The information shows up at Prudential. We've actually seen some cases here where the medical information actually arrives via the doctor's portal in less than 20 minutes. That's not the case, in every scenario for every client, for every doctor, but we have seen it, which is pretty ridiculous relative to, kind of the timelines that we've had in this industry for decades and decades. Another great thing about kind of, what has changed is now we actually have a 95% placement rate on these types of cases. Almost 50% of the cases that are applied for are accelerated, and 90% of those accelerated decisions occur in less than 48 hours. So I think we're all very accustomed to, even if it's on a a $500,000 term policy or $500,000 permanent policy, it's going to take a whole heck of a lot more time than 48 hours than what we've traditionally seen. So I would say that for us, what has changed, and what has changed for First American, what has changed for you producers, is the ability to get people into underwriting and out of underwriting and get those cases placed ASAP. So that's kind of what's changed in the industry in 2020. Some of our capabilities, and actually, go to that next slide, please. Just stay right there. What has changed? I'll go through these fairly simply. Number one, submission. You can apply for life insurance via the Express worksheet. So if you went on FAAU.com and access the forms, you would actually go through, and there's a selection there after you select state and product and everything else, the Express worksheet. And by filling out that Express worksheet, that's giving us everything that we need to set up a policy number, get the producer information and client information to go about underwriting for a life insurance policy. Number two, the client interview and data. Similar to what Pat mentioned, we have an e-interview. And what I really would like for you to get out of, really why an e-interview and why it's important, not only is it ease of, for client ease that can sit on their couch on a Friday night with a glass of wine or in Prudential's case, a cigar and get a non-smoker plus class, but it's really a TurboTax for your health. So for all of you that have used TurboTax before, if you have deductions, you click on deduction, and it keeps on drilling down and asking for more and more information until that information is 100% complete. And that's one of the things that the feedback that I've gotten from underwriters and from our new business folks is the e-interview is more in good order than your traditional phone interview. If you're in a phone interview talking about your health, you want to get off the phone as soon as possible. You may not have all the data in front of you. So say, for example, you're at the office doing a telephone interview, and they're asking about, when was the last time you saw the doctor? What was your blood pressure, your cholesterol? All that information's in my file cabinet at my house. I don't have it. So you just kind of, lack of a better term, wing it. So the interview gives the client not only the ability to answer things thoroughly, but also correctly, which is obviously going to help in the underwriting process. 50% of all e-interviews are completed within 24 hours. Okay, 50% of all e-interviews completed within 24 hours. And that is an unbelievable turnaround time based on what we're generally accustomed to with telephone interviews, calling at the wrong time, calling the wrong number, whatever it may be. 90% of those e-interviews are completed. We now have a 24-minute average for completing those interviews. So once again, one may take 15 minutes, one may take 43 minutes. That average is 24 minutes, but once again, it's a more thorough, more complete e-interview than it would have been had it been on the phone. And then obviously you partner that with human API, and then obviously the traditional prescription database, MVR, and everything else is completed as well. Now, as far as the review is concerned, Fast Track evaluates that data and accelerates many of those cases without the need for exam labs or APSs. And then finally, e-delivery. This has been game-changing at Prudential, and I know a lot of other carriers are moving to it. Some of the data on that is we have a 4% higher placement ratio with e-delivery. It's 3 days faster. Same-day e-delivery as well. So being able to do, to deliver a policy, electronically, huge efficiency that we found in this space. And 41% of all cases delivered in 2 days or less, which is fantastic. So that's a little bit about the capabilities of Prudential. Number three, what are the client opportunities? So really very simple. You have somebody who's 60 and under and needs $3 million or less of life insurance coverage. That's the opportunity. Being able to do that without any needles or somebody coming to your home, that's a huge plus in this day and age. Certainly for maybe those procrastinators that you've been talking to for a while, but they just putting it off. This is one of those scenarios where if you fill out the Express worksheet, they automatically get an email to complete the e-interview. It's really making it so super simple for people to apply for coverage that it's almost impossible to say no if somebody knows that they have a need for life insurance coverage. All of our single life products are available here at Prudential. whether it's a death benefit sale or an overfunded sale, a life insurance for, retirement planning type of sale. You can use those. We can use fixed and variable. We just very recently added VUL Protector and Custom Premier 2 to our platform on the Express worksheet to have it done electronically. VUL Protector, we're seeing a ton of these days. We actually lead the industry in variable sales. A lot of those sales are lifetime guarantee sales. They're just in a VUL chassis. So certainly those are available. And one of the things that is really, I believe, great for Prudential, we have, I would say, the industry-leading chronic illness rider on the marketplace called Benefit Access Rider. That's available as well. So if you have somebody, a younger insured, they're maxing out their 401k and the qualified plans, they have an additional $2,000 a month to buy life insurance, and you overfund a life insurance policy, you can add a chronic illness rider right there at the same time and go through the underwriting and hopefully get approved as soon as possible. So that's some of the client opportunities. So we covered three things today. What has changed? Number two, Prudential's key capabilities. And number three, client opportunities for you. Why I think you should be motivated to embrace these types of systems if you haven't yet. Simply the ease of doing business. For you, it's certainly the ease of doing business for the client. Those are two huge things. And not only is this business good for you and your client, but it's great for First American and it's great for Prudential. The more that we can streamline these capabilities is going to only return more profitability to us, which is at the end of the day is going to give more value to the consumer down the line. And the ability to spend less time processing business gives you more time to be selling. So what I challenge all of you to do is to identify clients that under age 60, under $3 million of coverage have a need. And I'd like for you to propose 3 cases over the next 2 weeks to these types of clients, see if maybe you can close more business. And with that being said, I am done with my presentation and thank you for your time.
Thanks, Pete. I love the challenge, and hopefully people on the call will rise to the challenge. I will share that First American has seen a major uptick in the use of these accelerated underwriting programs. And it's good for the clients, it's good for us, and it's most definitely good for you. I think as I'm about to hand over to Jim, and I don't know if Mary Beth, you're going to chat as well, but I just want to, again, just thank all the carriers. All the carriers have nuances about their programs. The benefit of working with First American, obviously, is that we can guide you to what is most appropriate for your clients. And please always feel free to reach out to us to get additional guidance where needed. But the challenge is there. Also, just one quick comment as Jim gets ready to present. The case sizes that we see, we very often see cases up to $1 million or up to $2 million or up to $3 million with different carriers based on their accelerated or preferred underwriting programs. And we're not seeing as many of the larger cases that require full underwriting, obviously indicative of the market where people are scared to have people in their homes for full medicals. So I think, Pete's challenge is a good one. Find the client, try the program. It has been successful. And you'll hear now from Jim and Mary Beth from Banner Legal in General, and off you go.
Peter, can you see my slide?
Not as yet. So you just do a share at the bottom of your screen.
Yeah, I did that. I got a blue box running around here. So
I think, Jim, you kindly sent us the presentation.
I did this morning.
I can quickly pull that up and I can get it for you, and I'm happy to be your remote slide presenter as I did for Mr. Sorelli.
If you would. I don't know what's going
give
on.
us
I
all
apologize.
This. No, look, we all have these technical things that happen to our Zoom calls. Sophia, you're on the call. Can you tell me where I can find Jim's presentation? Is it in, or you can email it to me quickly, and we'll get it up. Brendan Fallon, while we're getting this up, would you like to talk about our website?
Here we go.
Oh, we've got it.
That working? Is that better?
Yep, we see that.
But now we see it.
All right. So, but now you're seeing everything. So how about this?
There we go. That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for the time today, Peter. We really appreciate it. Digital, as you know, has been a huge focus this year, especially for us. We've launched a lot of tools to make life easier, faster, and better. So real quickly, I do have an agenda because that's what you do with the meeting, right? So I want to run through kind of our digital platform, what it's done for you, give you a few process updates, and then take a quick look at our journey. And of course, then remind you that e-delivery is still the best way to get a policy in the client's hands today. So we automated our application process back in late April, I believe it was, and we are doing a digital process in addition to our app assist model, which is kind of being downplayed at this point because we found that clients would rather do the application themselves on a much quicker basis as opposed to sitting through a telephone interview. So it's real time. We order all the requirements in the background as they're going through the application. They have the ability then to be done with the application in roughly 20 minutes or less. It's a simple process that can be done on their phone, on their iPad, on their laptop. I like to say that you could be completing your life insurance app and watching Outlander reruns at the same time. So it's that easy to complete. So who's eligible for this app? So right now it's applications up to 65 and requesting less than 2 million, and that's getting ready to change in the very near future. But there are a few exclusions, as you might expect. New York is not available today. If the owner is other than the insured, then it'll go to regular app assist model as of today. Business coverage is still not out there. Waiver premium is not allowed at this point, and then multiple policies. So may seem like a lot, but combined outside of New York, those other 4 combined for less than 8% of a total business with us. So it's not a large amount, excuse me. And those most of those are going to be coming off in the next 2 releases. So at that point, the only thing left will be the New York businesses. We're working through that. How does it work? Drop a ticket. Currently, you drop a ticket, you answer 6 or 8 questions, and it comes in and we do the interview. With the new model, what will happen is you'll drop the same ticket. It'll be emailed and or texted to your client, who can then complete the application on their phone and hit the submit button, and it will go into underwriting. So it's a much easier process for them, and they can start and stop as they get into it if they need to. We do have our exam-free eligibility that has been enhanced a little bit. You'll see that females, we now go to $1 million all the way up to age 50. And then after that, we do 250 up to age 55. So we didn't quite open the floodgates there, but we did increase the opportunity to get the exam-free eligibility. And like my counterparts, we're looking at ways to utilize human API, lab picture, Wamba, MIB, all of those great electronic health tools. As they get rolled out, we're looking for ways to integrate them. And in the very near future, you'll see some of that integrated right into the digital process, and the client will be just doing it as they're completing the application. There won't be any other steps that are necessary. We have gotten some opportunity where if the client doesn't want to get an exam because they can't get to an exam, or they don't want to speak to an examiner, have them come to their house, we will look at the labs, the EHRs, if in fact they're out there within the last 18 months. So that's a positive, and that's a step in the right direction, and allows us to be a little more creative in our underwriting. So how do you guys get into the ticket? You do a drop ticket through iPipeline. We have taken the iPipeline application and made a few adjustments to it. As you can see, this looks pretty similar. The biggest one is the phone number and making sure that the client understands that it's a mobile number so we can text. And if they do that, there's some language that'll pop up. And then doing the email. The email is not required. As you know, the yellow is required. The email is not required, but if you do the email, then we can get them the electronic application. One of the enhancements that we added just recently is the ability for our team to reach out and make phone calls to the client after 7 days if they haven't received the email. And you can see here the primary language for receiving text messages. It's important that they understand that and that they're ready to go. And then they'll get an email from us or a text message with this message where they can jump in and they can hit complete app and move right on through. And then they get into their portal and it looks very similar to something that they might see if you were doing it. They get their number there. If they're going to schedule an appointment, then they can actually schedule their appointment and we'll call them if they need assistance. So we're going to stay in front of your customers. The online application has been designed to make the process much easier for your clients and for you to get the life insurance that they need without seeing examiners if possible, and without having to go through a 40 to 45-minute telephone interview. So our new journey is designed to make life easier and to take advantage of the situation that we're currently under right now. So what we need your help with is making sure that you explain the process to your clients and that they understand what their next steps are. And we have this great document about what to expect so that they understand that they're going through a life insurance policy and that they will in fact need to give us their doctor's information, and it's going to be pretty quick when we do it. And then of course, once the policy's done, our e-delivery, fast, free, easy, doesn't cost anything, doesn't change anything for you, and you get to have your client get their policy delivered much quicker. Right now, we're seeing almost 60% of our policies go out on the e-delivery, and that's a huge increase from last year. And of course, the situation is there. So if you have any questions on the e-delivery, we can address those kind of individually. And then we do have some websites that you can log on to get more information about the process. There's actually a nice YouTube video here that you can log into to actually see a step-by-step of the application process. And that's it. That's all I had, Peter. It was a real quick overview of the digital process that Legal in General has done.
Jim, thank you so much. Mary Beth, I don't know if you wanted to add anything, but I thought Jim did.
Yes, I would love to if you got a hot second, Peter. Just wanted a little talk about some stats for your agency. Approximately 48% of your applications are still paper applications. So we have a huge opportunity to, transform some of them to the digital journey. And again, when you've been doing the digital journey, 47% of your applications are going through exam free. So you're getting even a better than the LGA experience in getting lab free underwriting. So, and e-delivery, you're at 54%. So, we have some room for growth here, some room for opportunity, but so far in the digital platform, you're having a really great experience. So. Mary
Beth, I appreciate those numbers, and just over half from where we were a year ago. I like the trend, and I love the graphic that Jim put out in terms of the process and the flow, similar for all carriers, all our partners. I'm going to hand over to Brendan Fallon to just quickly walk you through our website very quickly and how to access all these great programs through a single portal. We have the additional support of the carriers. We have those what to expect from Principal, from Prove, from Banner, from any of the others. And Brendan Fallon is a great resource. So Brendan, let me hand over to you to wrap up for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be respectful of your time. Thanks, Brendan.
Absolutely. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
And can you guys all see my screen?
Yep.
Wonderful. So as Peter said, my name is Brendan. I'm a part of the case design team here at FAIU. So not only am I assisting in creating the illustrations for all these lovely products that our carriers have presented to us today, but I'm also assisting with the application process and answering any questions in terms of IGO. I kind of want to go back to the title of this webinar and taking the fear and uncertainty out of the electronic app process and submission. And I think the big fear is that if you've never done something before, it can be very confusing. So if you've been to our website before, the first thing that I want to start with is going to quote and apply. From here, you're going to be brought to two screens. The first would be term and GUL quotes, and the second would be IGO. If you have not run a quote before, or if you haven't received a quote from us for the application, you're going to click this term and GUL quote button. This will bring you to a screen here. You can put in information about the agent, the insured, fill in other information about the illustration, and then you can click Get Quotes. From here, we'll have a listing of all of the different products that are available, and it's as easy as hitting the Apply button next to any of these carriers and clicking Drop Ticket. You can go here, and it will immediately bring you over to the product that you would like to apply for, bringing over information on the insured, the product, and then hitting Select. That's the easiest way to get over to an application, and then you can carry forward with the application process as the other carriers have discussed previously. Beyond that, what you can do is you can go to I Go Here. So that would be back at the main menu again, clicking Quote and Apply, and then selecting I Go. What this will do is it'll bring you to a screen that says Start New Case, as well as View My Cases. If you click View My Cases, you're going to be able to look at all of the different applications that you've filled out across all different carriers for different applications, or you can press Start New Case. Start New Case will bring you to a screen that will look like this. It's the exact screen that we were just on. What you'll be able to do is put in the first and last name of the insured, date of birth. This case description option right here is a lovely feature that will allow you to kind of put a description of for yourself. This wouldn't be seen by anybody else, but it's a reminder for you to say, okay, this is the quote that I'm doing for Mr. John Doe, 500,000 of term, whatever it may be. Starting there, you can choose the state of issue, and then any of the products that are available. We'll do term for right now. And then you can just click Find Available Products. And this will give you a listing of all of the different products that would be available for application in that state. And then it's just as easy as clicking Select. From there, you can refer to all the presentations that we heard before this in terms of the ease of application, the process that it will go through, filling in the application and things of that nature. The biggest piece of advice that I have with filling out any of these applications is double and triple checking that the phone number and email that you put in, not only for you as the advisor, but also for the insured, is correct. The best description that I have for it is, say that you're trying to mail something to Minnesota. If you put in 460 Hillside, Minnesota, but accidentally write Massachusetts, the application is not going to be sent to the correct place. If you have a misspelling in the phone number or a misspelling in the email, it's not going to be delivered to the correct place. So I highly recommend like double and triple checking that the emails are correct there. That's all that I have for today, Peter. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. And additionally, if you do have any questions either throughout this process or afterwards, please always feel free to reach out to us. We're more than happy to assist with this process.
Brendan, thanks so much. As Brendan referred, you know, it's sometimes scary doing things for the first time. We're available to help and walk you through it. And then last but not least, on my screen, which I hope you are seeing, that are you seeing my website? Just in the bottom right-hand side of the website, there is the capability to check for all the accelerated underwriting programs. We've got an updated carrier guidelines, every single carrier that we do business with, including our key carrier partners that were on the call today, Principal, Prudential, and Banner. And those are updated regularly as their programs change. As luck would have it, it's slow here. And any notes or anything that you need on the guidelines are right here, as well as all the parameters around these accelerated programs. So we have all these resources for you. As every speaker has reiterated multiple times on the call today, it's the future. It's how business will be done. Prudential has added a ton of their permanent products to this range, and we encourage all of you to try it. If you end up getting stuck, please call our main office line, ask for Brendan or anyone in the case design team. We will support you through it and jump on, share your screen, and work with you. I invite all of you to unmute your mics. We have our entire panel of experts here, and you can ask any questions. If there are no questions, this recording will be available on our website shortly, but we will keep this line open for another about 5 minutes. Thank you all for attending, and have a great day. Thank you. Doesn't sound like there are any questions coming through. I haven't seen any texted through. For people who want to unmute themselves, please feel free to do so.
Peter, I do have a question.
Sure, Tim.
Very helpful. Thanks a lot. And one of my questions was answered this morning. I did a drop ticket yesterday and everything went fine. But I learned this morning on the webinar that that the woman had the option to do an application and not take the phone call. That is correct, right?
Certain carriers have
This is
online
with
work.
Banner. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is with Banner.
Mary Beth, do you want to take that?
Yes, you do have the option that you do not, if the client wants to fill out the application themselves, that as long as they've put in their email address and we can text them or send them an email with the application, yes, they can take the application and do it themselves, and they will not have to go through the interview process at that point.
And Mary Beth, that's what she did. But here's my confusing point.
Okay.
Then she said to me, she was given the option to set up a physical. She's age 43, 500,000. And she said she had the option to set up a physical, which she did, which is tomorrow. And then she asked me, is this necessary? So can you explain that? Why does she need a physical?
Well, again, it has to go through the process, and if the physical is not needed, when, the rules engines are going through, if it can be automated underwriting, then we will just cancel the exam.
I'm still not clear. She's 43, 500,000. I don't think she needs a physical, but they gave her that option and she took it. So what does she do now? Does she cancel a physical tomorrow and then need one a month from now, or what? It's confusing.
Yeah, what I would recommend you do, I'll give you my email address. You can email me the policy number, the name of the person, and I will look into it for you and see exactly which part of the digital journey she was in, what exactly she did, if it's a new digital app or it's an app assist, and I will get you that answer.
The only problem is I need to get back to her by noontime
Yep.
today.
Yeah, I'll get it for you right away. Let me give you my email address, mbonacorsa@lgamerica.com.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Tim, we can also assist with that. We can take a look at it on the back end. Your case manager here can look at that.
Yeah.
Hey, Mary Beth, Jerry Cruz, how are you?
Hi, Jerry. Good.
Good. Hey, you said something earlier, and I just want to confirm that it's right and just make sure everybody heard it.
Mhm.
You said that if somebody submits a paper application, they're not eligible for accelerated underwriting. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right.
Exactly. Yep. At this point, paper applications, we do not have the option of offering accelerated underwriting. That's why we're pushing even more so of the digital app, at LGA.
Great reason to do drop ticket.
Exactly.
Another thing too, I know that when policies are e-delivered, I think they come to First American, but then after that, they go straight to the client.
Yes. You have that where it's like a stopover. So you get to look at the policy, you get to, approve it and everything, and then it goes to the client. Yeah, we have two types. We have the direct or we have the layover.
Right. I think we do the layover, but is there any thought to maybe including the agent into that? I know with some agents, we actually take a copy of the policy and then, email it to them after the fact.
Yes, we've kicked that around, I guess it's it's an IT build, but again, we'll definitely take that back to the powers to be, Jerry.
Jim.
I know that, Jerry, I do know, this is Jim. I do know that there are some reviews of the full e-delivery process under review right now as we go through the digital process. And that has been one of the things that I have heard mentioned, is that they want to provide more flexibility in the delivery process.
Yeah.
So just can't promise you it's going to happen
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. I know it will be on a day that ends in Y. That's all I can tell you.
All right. Well, hey, there is hope then. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, there is.
Tim Graham, it's Peter. So I pulled up the case. I can forward the details to Mary Beth, and
that would be fabulous. So I can jump right on it and get him an answer.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Peter.
Welcome. Anyone else have any other questions? If not, it's coming up on that 45-minute slot that we reserved. I just wanted to once again thank our panelists, Pat, Peter, Jim, Mary Beth, appreciate it. All of you on the call, I really appreciate your time. And if you need help, please, we're here to assist you. Have a fantastic day and stay safe. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.